And what's up, everybody, and welcome back to Celluloid Psychosis. I am your host, TJ Bowser, and joining me, as always, is the very handsome, the very British, the King of Salisbury himself, Mr. Paul Ashford. What's up, buddy?
Hey man, I am good. Actually, I'm fantastic. I'm fantastic, man. I've had a good week. I've had a really good week, actually.
Excellent to hear.
Yeah, man. Should we talk? Should we talk?
Yes, talk about your week because it's been an awesome one, and I know about it, but they
Yeah,
don't know about
yeah.
it.
I got myself a brand new car. Got myself an EV,
Yes, which
electric
EV did
vehicle.
you get?
I went for a Cupra Born,
Ooh.
which is like not available in the USA, but it's
Spanish Volkswagen.
yeah, Spanish. It's an ID3 with a Spanish makeover, very sporty. It's very nice. I'm still getting used to it. I gave it its very first charge today. It's all very exciting. It's very quick. It's very stylish. I love
That
it.
means that this podcast now contributes 0 to the pollution of the ozone layer.
Yeah.
Is your yard tools going to be EV next?
Maybe. Yeah, yeah.
Keep
Yeah.
going.
My lawnmower is electric. Does that count?
Yes, it does count.
Yeah, there you go. My lawnmower is electric. Actually, no, my hedge trimmer is as well.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I binned off my petrol lawnmower ages ago.
there we
So,
go.
yeah. Electric is the way. But no, it's great. It's so good. Lovely car. Really nice car. Other than that, we've been watching movies and bits. Not too much working hard, but yeah, for me, it's all been about the car,
Yeah,
which is incredible. Yeah,
it's
how about
always exciting to get a new car. Well, man, last week at work was flat out, as I always say. And of course,
you?
last Thursday, we had a live stream with Adam Marcus, Michael Felcher, Eric Beetner, and Ali Riviera. I don't know how to say her last name. Quinoz, something like that. Sorry for that, Ali. But anyway, did a stream. We showed off the Red Band trailer for Hearts of Darkness. That is the film that I co-produced.
Mhm.
Yeah, that I'm excited. It's been like 4 or 5 years in the making, man. It's been a long time coming. I'm excited for you guys to finally see it. I know, Paul, you've been excited because I've been
Oh yeah.
telling you about it all the time.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm super excited to finally have something that I kind of championed and kind of made
Yep.
happen come to light and fruition here. And then knowing that it's getting a proper boutique Blu-ray release. And it just warms my heart knowing that I'm a special feature on there. It's going to be
Yep.
so cool. But anyway, like I said, flat out at work. Been doing a little bit Blu-ray purchasing. Got Hellboy: The Crooked Man on Blu-ray and the 2019 Hellboy movie.
Nice.
I recently watched the Mike Magnola documentary on the
Mhm.
Amazon Prime, and it was fantastic. I highly recommend that. I love Hellboy. I love the Hellboy comics. I think they're
Yeah.
fantastic. I love the movies. But we're not here to talk about Hellboy. We're here to talk about 2019's Butt Boy. Now, this is one of my picks, so I'm not going to apologize because it's hilarious. And this is directed by Tyler Cornack, written by Tyler Cornack and Ryan Coach, starring Tyler Rice as Russell B. Fox, Tyler Cornack as Chip Gutchell, Shelby Dash as Ann Gutchell, Brad Potts as Chief John Lazara, Austin Lewis as Rick Mitchum, Robert Ackerman Moss as Nelson Guerrera, something like that, Tyler
Yeah.
Dryden as Marty Guchel, Kai Henderson as John Lee, and last but certainly not least, Colleen Elizabeth Miller as Cindy. So I'm going to
Mhm.
go ahead and read that plot. When a routine prostate exam awakens a strange compulsion, mild-mannered IT guy Chip Gutchell develops an insatiable urge to shove things up his butt. Starting small, but escalating to pets, children, and even adults. As people mysteriously vanish, hard-drinking Detective Russell picks up the trail, leading to a bizarre game of cat and mouse that pushes the limits of crime, obsession, and the human sphincter. Paul, what have we
Yeah.
got ourselves into?
I had no idea when you first told me the title. I was like, okay, sounds a bit I don't know, gay, I guess. Like, I thought it was going to be, some sort of serious drama about, that
Uh-huh.
sort of stuff. But it wasn't that at all. Um, yeah, I mean, you read about this film, like you read about that plot, and you'd be like, "Oh my god, that sounds trash. That sounds awful. That sounds like a trauma kind of thing," or like yeah, just some wild, silly movie. Honestly, it's kind of anything but. I said but.
Yeah, it's
It's
taken
kind of
pretty seriously.
yeah. So yeah, my expectations. Well, I mean, I had pretty much zero expectations. I was thinking this is going to be a real silly, low budget
Mm-hmm.
ass movie, I guess. But it was so different. It was way different to that. Way different to that. So yeah, my initial impressions, I was pretty blown away by what I saw. It's quite gripping as well. To be fair, the
Yeah,
start when he first finds out that he enjoys that stuff.
yeah. You're
It's
like, what the
like
hell's he gonna do? How far is
yeah,
he
yeah,
gonna go? And it
yeah.
escalates really quickly.
Yeah, yeah, like really quickly, and suddenly he's hanging himself in his garage, and then it's cut to 9 years later, and we're introduced to Rick,
Yeah,
Russell, sorry, Russell, um, and yeah, it's just wild. And then you realise that he's still alive, and then he's in Alcoholics Anonymous, although it's not alcohol he's addicted to, is it? It's something
yeah.
else. But yeah, it's crazy, and it's just yeah.
The cat and mouse game is so engaging,
Hmm.
and when you finally get that showdown, like you're locked in. So
Yeah.
then whenever that finally like that whenever he finally gets overcome, you're like,
Mhm.
"Oh shit." No pun intended. No pun intended.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh
I mean, it's never not graphically shown him sticking stuff on his butt. It's like more
it's
suggested.
not.
A
Yes.
lot of it's more suggested, and you're kind of like, oh no, he's getting obsessed with it because he keeps choosing different things around the house, putting up there. When he has that sort of awkward sex session with his
His
wife.
weef is his not weef, his wife is cheating on him, right?
Yeah, yeah. And yeah,
Totally.
they've got a completely loveless marriage,
Yeah.
unfortunately. I mean, it's very sad actually because he's
Well, it all starts because he wants her to put a finger in his butt during
yeah,
sex,
yeah.
and
I
she
say that
refuses. So
yeah
while he's in
after
the
he says
shower,
that.
he puts a whole bar of soap in there, and he just
Hmm.
goes ballistic.
Yeah. But it was like a very mundane. He's a very mundane guy. It's a very mundane sex session when she's not interested.
Very
Um,
melancholy.
yeah, yeah, melancholy. Yeah, and he's at his office job, and it looks horrific. It's like a real bland office. The guy, the boss, who I'm
Come
sorry to
on,
say,
Paul, give me a beat.
yeah, I'm sorry to say, he reminded me of you, that guy. The boss, he's got like he's like sort of like yeah, come on, and I've seen that in the past in jobs I've been in when someone's trying to G everyone
Mhm.
up and they do a song, they do like a tune or something, and you just kind of want to kill yourself sometimes, and that's exactly the face he's got in that scene, isn't it? He's just like, oh my god, I hate my life, kind of thing. And yeah, it leads to the prostrate exam.
Yes.
Um, yeah, you feel sorry for the guy. He's essentially a loser,
Yeah.
or he's losing at life, should I
Well,
say?
like
Because
he says during the coffee thing,
yeah,
I like he kind of lays it all out. Like he made a
knocked up the
mistake,
girl
knocking up this
early.
girl. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, loveless marriage, and yeah, they had a kid which didn't plan, and
So
yeah,
he's fully aware of his situation. It's just kind of accepted it, and like his only reprieve is doing this stuff. And
yeah,
if you remove the silly aspect of it, he's honestly he's
aspect.
aspect of it. Uh, he's a serial killer, kind of. He has
I
serial
guess so.
killer tendencies. I mean, he's abducting children.
Yeah,
He's abducting adults,
hmm,
pets. I mean, he's yeah.
yeah, it's bad, but he acknowledges it's bad and then tries to kill himself, doesn't he?
Which then, of course, when you get to the end of the movie, we'll skip there real quick, just because.
Hmm.
Is there a supernatural aspect to this?
Yeah,
Because of like the ass void.
yeah, because yeah, when they go in that, it's yeah, very much supernatural.
You
It's
guys will
just
know what
weird.
I'm talking about later, but.
Hmm.
So
But
anyway, like Paul said, we're
mhm,
introduced to this character. Very melancholy life, very sad.
mhm,
Finds out that he likes putting stuff up his butt. And it leads to him going into a park after him putting the family dog in his butt. And then they go looking for the family dog. And he stays after. And there's this girl playing on a blanket with his kid. And
yeah,
it's not shown in any way, shape, or form, but it's implied
no,
that he takes that child and puts it up his butt. And
yes,
then
The police come knocking on the
Then the
door, don't
police
they?
come knocking on his door, which kind of makes him go into hiding. But like Paul
Mhm,
said, he tries to kill himself because he feels bad about what's going on. And then the
mhm.
film it skips ahead 9 years, but it doesn't tell you. It kind of just shows you. It
Yeah.
shows you that he's still living this very bland life,
Mhm.
playing board games with his family that's now aged clearly, but he's still in the very same exact situation. Uh,
We get
and he has,
introduced to Russell, don't we?
yeah,
We get the really cool credit scene with Russell driving the, police
the,
car
the police
before
car,
the
and then
crash.
the
It's like the view is really cool because it's almost like it reminds me of Naked Gun,
there's
the way it's
very
shot
like
in the films.
neo noir lighting
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah. Yeah, a lot of
every
neon,
scene
yeah.
is either like green and orange or red and blue lit faces,
Mhm,
and it's very heavy neons, and I love that look. It's really well
mhm.
shot. There's not a big budget here. There's not a lot of big effects going on. There's a lot of in-camera stuff, a lot of clever editing going on. But when
Mhm.
I'm talking about lighting and acting, this film nails it in
Yeah.
little ways that nails it. Okay, Paul. When you're outside and it's nighttime, it's deep blacks. It's lit really well. When you're in that office, it invokes the feeling of depression. The
Oh, yeah.
lighting's drab, the colors are
Mhm.
sucked out. The way that entire set is filmed allows you to, I don't know, feel for those characters that are kind of stuck in the mundane life.
Mhm. Mhm.
Uh, and I think that, where other films don't really put that attention to detail in, this film kind of does. And we will preface this that this film is good. I know we're talking about a guy shoving things up his butt, but at the end of
Mhm.
the day, this film came out in like right as COVID was hitting and
Yep.
nobody talked about it. So as absurd as it is, the title's absurd. It's actually a pretty enthralling film.
Yeah, I can imagine a lot of people are put off by the title or
Yeah.
by the plot, which I would have been, to be
Mhm,
fair. But, yeah, it's definitely not for everyone,
mhm,
and but it's not as silly or stupid as the
mhm,
plot and the title would suggest. It's actually very well made,
mhm.
and the acting's good.
And I like the dynamic of how we're introduced to this Russell character by him by showing him doing his job through the title
Yeah.
sequence, and then that introduces us to him doing the whole AA thing,
Mhm.
and then the camera pans and Chip just happens to be in the lineup of AA
Yeah.
people, and then
Mhm.
you're like, oh, that's where everything ties together, and
Yeah.
then it kind of clicks if you're really thinking about it. He's not an alcoholic. He's there to
Yeah.
talk about putting stuff in his butt.
Mhm.
So that whole interaction starts whenever they go to the coffee shop, and they have arguably one of the most uncomfortable conversations ever on film. That
Oh, yeah.
I mean, aside from Naked Lunch,
Yeah.
just kidding. But yeah, it's very strange, very awkward.
Now it makes Chip relapse as well, doesn't it? Because he's asking the detective about how long have you been
Mhm.
off the drink, and he's like, oh, only a few days, and he's like, I bet you'd miss being hungover. He's like, no, I actually like the hangover, and then he says some stuff, and Chip's like, oh, kind of
Is
brings
it
memories back
the
to him.
it's that's right, he relapses by putting the, sorry piece from the board
That's
game
right.
Sorry up
Yeah,
his ass.
he goes home and plays the board game with his family. Yeah,
Yeah,
and then he's just like looking at it like, ugh. But yeah, he unfortunately relapses, and then it starts to get out of control
and it
big
kind of, like,
time.
reaches its height whenever, we're back at the RTM building, that's his work,
Hmm.
and the, guy that Paul says reminds him of me, starts to play hide and seek with the kids, and
Oh God, yeah, it's bring your kid to work day.
Mhm, and one of the
Which
kids hide underneath his desk, and he subsequently it doesn't show it, of course, like we said,
no, no,
but
it just
it's
shows you.
implied that he puts the kid in his ass, and then the
Yeah,
kid goes missing, and then Russell's put on the case.
yeah.
So
Chip is like the real techie guy. He's messed with
yes,
all the CCTV. I love how the CCTV is saved onto floppy disk as
yes.
well.
Well, I
He's like,
also like that because then you're just like it's not a flash drive. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Yeah.
yeah.
So Chip erases the CCTV footage.
Hmm.
Russell realizes that hey, Chip's the smart guy, like Paul said, he's the tech
Yeah.
guy. He
Hmm.
kind of focuses in on him, but can't really prove anything.
Yeah.
So, but he does find a piece of what can only be assumed is feces with a
Mm,
hair underneath of his desk. And he puts that in
yeah, that's
evidence and
pretty
then moves
gross.
on.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, does he begin to follow Chip after this? Because
Yeah, it
then
does. Yeah.
Chip's then going to the pet store And then we get the cat scene, right?
Yeah, we do.
So we get the cat scene. Now, this film breaks my rule because he does the dog,
Mhm.
but we get the scene where he goes and gets the cat, and the cat's in the back seat, and he looks back at the cat, and then
Yeah.
uh, what's his fucking name?
Russell, the
Russell's like
detective.
watching him, and then he like dips
Yeah.
down because like he gets out of the car, and then he like
Yeah.
takes off into this like I don't
Ali
know, like
and
alleyway that's kind
yeah,
of
yeah,
like
yeah.
I don't know, it's like a tunnel almost,
Yeah, yeah.
and really well lit, really cool scene anyway.
Mhm.
And then Russell comes upon it, and all he sees is the cat carrier, but it's
Yeah,
empty.
empty.
And he looks inside, but then again, there's another piece of fecal matter with a hair in it. So
Mhm.
he's like, "Oh, there's a trend." So
Yeah.
he's really thinking that, "Oh my god,
Mhm.
it's this guy." So
Yeah.
at this point, he goes back to the police station and essentially tries to convince the police chief that this guy is doing all this stuff, putting stuff
Yeah.
in his butt, and that's where this kid's going. The family dog, these
Yeah.
cats,
Mhm.
and essentially laughs at him. Like,
Yeah, the chief's like, "You're crazy," yeah, and
mhm.
he fires him, doesn't he, as well? He's like, "You're off the job. You're off
Yep.
handing your
And
badge."
that leads to Russell spiraling out of control.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think some time goes past, right?
Yeah, so, yeah, Russell completely spirals out of control, and then, it kinda turns that, Chip takes advantage of that,
Yes.
and starts to pin all the stuff from Russell, like the bad things that happened on Russell, because obviously his boss knows that he was at the AA meetings as well, so
Yeah.
he's obviously thinking he's drunk, he's relapsed into his drunk, and he's lying about all this crazy stuff. And yeah, things get actually really bad for Russell at one point. Um, and
You
there's a
feel for him because he's a good guy.
yeah, he's a really good guy.
And
Yeah,
what's really funny is
he's always very sweaty and greasy.
that
Even like
but they mention it at the coffee scene,
yeah.
the
It's
slick
like
back
you're a
greasy hair.
stereotypical cop. Yeah, yeah,
But then it's funny because whenever you look at pictures of the actor now, he's actually a really handsome guy.
hmm
He's really put together. He does rock the mustache though, so
yeah.
kudos, bro.
There's a really awkward scene where Chip invites Russell to his house to
For
have a meal
dinner.
and meet his wife. Oh my
His
god.
wife's clearly hitting on him.
Yeah, and yeah, and there's also Chip lied to him by saying his wife had
Cerebral
suspected.
palsy.
Yeah. Oh man, it's such and it's basically like you said, cat and mouse. It's like Chip and Russell are like baiting each other,
Cat and
trying
mouse
to find out.
with absurdity.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just like it's horrendous.
Mhm.
And then he gets up to leave, and yeah, his wife's been flirting with him. It's awkward. She's trying to set him up with one of her friends, asking him about kids
But
and
he's
stuff.
clearly getting closer and
To the truth.
making Chip
Yeah,
nervous as hell. Like Chip
yeah.
knows he's on. So yeah, tell them
You
what happens at the end of
you
the
get
dinner.
you get the little bit as well where she's asking Russell like if he wants kids and stuff. He kind of goes, "No, I don't want kids," and that kind of prefaces something that happens at the end.
Yes.
Spoiler alert.
It ties it
Um,
all together and kind of makes the
yeah,
whole script really, really smart.
yeah. But yeah, that finishes and he goes to leave, and we get this like super awkward scene out the front of his house where obviously Russell's onto something. And he goes, "Oh, can I really need to
I need to
use the
shit.
bathroom. I need to take a shit." He essentially says it, and it's just a real awkward scene because
You can't wait.
Chip is like, no, he's like, I need to go. I've got a long drive and all that. And eventually lets him in after some real.
Can I just say that we keep having viewers come in and then they keep hearing us talk about guys taking shits or putting things in his
And they
ass
go,
and they
yeah.
leave? Okay, keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a real awkward, stilted conversation, but he eventually lets him use his toilet.
Yeah.
And then obviously Chip is super nervous that he's going to find
This
something in
scene
there.
is awesome
Yeah. And he's
because,
like,
yeah.
he starts talking to him through the toilet door, and he's like, "Oh, I should have let you use the other toilet because that one's got a
Well, he's
problem with
like,
the handle." And
preface this. The way it's shot is it's two static shots. And the
Mhm.
static shot of Russell is him bent over on the toilet looking at the camera. And
Yeah.
the toilet is in a small covert within this bathroom. So all
Mhm.
you see is walls behind him. I just want to preface because the visuals are great. And then the other static shot is a side view of Chip. And on the left side is the door. So, and it cuts back between these two constantly. So we'd see him bent over yelling, and then it would cut to Chip banging on the door, and then back to him bent over yelling while taking a shit. I get it's like the whole film is just revolves around poo and butts.
Yeah.
But anyway, like Paul says, he's banging on the door, like,
Yeah.
"Hey, you can't use this bathroom. You can't come in. You go use the other one. Stop taking the shit." And he's like, What the fuck?" So of course that's starting to be like, "Why are you doing this? Why are you giving me a hard time?" Which then we get this one. It breaks from those two shots to show a slow zoom in shot of the under sink, because then
Yeah.
you're like, "Oh shit, what the fuck's under there?" So then I can't remember, when does it reveal that he has the floppy disk? Is it prior, or is it whenever Chip opens the door and he has the gun pointed at him, and then it zooms down to the floppy disk in his hand?
Yeah, zooms down to the floppy disk.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's only interrupted by Chip's wife, who comes in and says, "Is everything okay, honey?" And Russell decides, "I'm not going to shoot him. I'm going to put this in my pocket, walk away with the evidence, and everything's going to be fine." So we get this awesome scene where Chip goes, not Chip, but Russell gets in his car, drives away, and we think, okay, he's going to go prove everything is the way it is. He throws the floppy disk on his passenger side of his car.
Yeah.
And he goes for a ride. And then he goes through this industrial section of the city. And then he realizes, fuck, Chip's following me. So he gets his gun ready, and he goes to get out of his car. And then we get this earlier in the episode I mentioned, the face-off scene, the showdown. And the whole movie's like, there's a constant build of tension to this, and it's so good. And then the way that this entire sequence is filmed, because it doesn't really show you anything until the end. So you see Russell standing in it's a wide shot, and then there's a zoom in of a close-up shot of Russell standing there, and he turns around. But as he's turning around, Chip is rushing him, and Chip tackles him. And I think he drops his gun, and then it becomes like this whole thing. Yeah. And then Russell gets up and then runs to his car. But as Russell's running to his car, Chip takes his pants off and opens up his asshole. And then Chip's asshole becomes this massive vortex that then starts sucking in all the objects around him. All the objects inside Russell's car start shaking. Russell starts shaking. He's and like
shatters the window, doesn't it? In the car,
the thing, like the speakers are ringing and shit. You're like, and then he gets sucked into his asshole, more or less. Him and the floppy disk get sucked into his asshole, and then the screen goes black, and then the screen goes red, and then we're introduced to this weird, steamy, void, shit-covered world that is the inside of Chip's asshole.
Yeah, it's inner space.
Yeah, and so we get 25 minutes. And I think I'm right about this. Like 25 minutes of the rest of the movie is then spent inside Chip's rectum.
Yeah, pretty well. It's that, or it's showing Chip succeeding in everything in life, basically.
So
he thinks
we will preface this.
Yeah.
Wait, when did that happen? I can't remember now.
What's that with Chip?
When he shoots him.
When that was in that scene, wasn't it? When he shoots him in the leg, right?
No, because there's the scene at the arcade when he's playing.
Not when they're doing the laser tag. That's right.
Yeah, the laser tag.
Oh, the laser tag. Right. Yeah, the laser tag. Yeah.
So he doesn't suck him up in his ass.
No. So when you missed a bit. So when he escapes with the floppy disk, he takes it to his chief, doesn't he? And
that's right. Time, and the chief has it and never does anything.
Yeah, the chief is like, "You're crazy. Hand your badge in. Yeah, you're off the job," kind of thing. And he's just like, "I'm sick of it," kind of thing.
That's right.
He thinks he's just a massive drunk. And that's when he goes into spiraling out of control. And
and we get this whole thing where Chip's succeeding in life, and nobody believes Russell.
Yeah.
And then Russell sneaks back into his office and steals a bunch of evidence.
Yeah.
And then shows up at a fucking laser tag thing where
it's Chip's kid's birthday, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they've got this 80s style laser tag party going on, and then Russell turns out with a real gun, and then they have this like shoot off, don't they? Like it's again, like you said, it's really well lit. It's dark with the neon, it's super cool, and that's when he ends up getting shot, and you are looking in shock.
Keep going. I'll send
Yeah.
it to you.
Right. Yeah. So there's this crazy scene during a kid's quasar laser party that Russ is actually hunting down Chip with a real gun, and that's when he does end up getting shot. And that's when he goes to hospital, right? When Chip goes to hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And is it after then that he gets sucked into his butt? He gets shot, and then Russell goes to escape, and that's when he gets in the car, and he's sat in the car, and suddenly his like windows explode right on the car.
Yes.
And you think you look almost like he's getting shot, but then you realise it's Chip. He looks in the wing mirror, and it's Chip there with his butt cheeks open, and like, yeah, that's the crazy vortex. Essentially, you think that's the end of Russell, but
The
it's
film
not.
has a Lynchian feel to it because of the
Yeah,
structure.
oh, definitely, yeah, definitely.
When I'm getting confused with the structure, when there's time elapses in this movie, there is
Yeah,
the only time does it tell you that there's a certain amount of time is at the end, and it says a month later.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, it's crazy. And then so he sucks in his ass, like you said, and then suddenly life gets great for Chip because he's got no more worries. He
And I think,
he gets the big promotion at work
yeah,
because of the poor guy's kid he sucks up
essentially
his
he's
ass.
the hero because the guy that shot him is now missing. They
Yeah,
don't know that
yeah.
he's in his ass. He's just
Yeah,
missing. So everybody thinks that he saved his kid's birthday party and all this from this
yeah,
madman.
yeah,
So now we're inside of Chip's ass.
yeah,
I think this is where the movie shows its budget.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much further they could have took the anal void world, but like, I feel like there's some shitty thing. Like the set is not the best.
Hmm.
The shitty set, pun intended.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like this part of the movie's not as polished as the rest.
Rest, yeah.
Uh,
There
I
is,
love the 25 minutes though. So essentially,
there is,
he's in his rectum now, and you
yeah,
find
and
out that he's not digesting everything as
no.
Russell thinks.
So he finds one of the kids, and he finds the
Well, the dog
Mr.
first. No, the
Yeah, and
kid's
then
there first. The
the
kid
kid's
greets him.
yeah, the kid, which is like the sort of the his name is Lee, something Lee, isn't it? He's the
Andrew
guy.
Lee,
Yeah, Andrew Lee, the kid from the Bring Your Kid to School Day that went
RTM.
missing.
Yeah.
Yeah, starts talking to him, and then they hear a noise. He's like, "What's that?" He goes, "Oh no, he's gonna fart." And there's like a vortex inside the ass.
Yeah, they're
And
dodging farts while they're inside
yeah,
the rectal void world. So.
and then they're avoiding it. And there's this like real funny scene where it cuts this that, and then it cuts to Chip sat in the hospital bed, and he's got his kid one side and his wife the other side, and he just squeezes out that little fart, like a little, and like the kid just looks at him, and then his wife just like ooh, and just sits back with a book. And obviously, then it cuts back to them inside his ass. And they're like fighting from the vortex. But yeah, it's just why it just goes completely crazy
But
now.
you see the family dog in there. You see the different items, and
Yeah, yeah.
eventually he comes across like this weird, like little shit igloo, and there's like this child in there that doesn't speak English, and he
Yeah.
realizes in that moment that this is his child, and
Hmm.
that child from earlier in the movie that he stole from the park
Yeah.
is Russell's child.
Hmm.
Okay, we never talked about Russell being a weird, creeping, peeping Tom and watching his wife make out with this new
Oh yeah.
husband. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and it was
One can assume that marriage went bad after the kid disappeared.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's the way they play it out, yeah, for sure. And yeah, that also leads back to the awkward dinner table scene when he kept saying, "No, I don't want kids. I
Yes.
don't want kids," and you could tell something's up. And
So we
this is
got this
obviously
poo-covered lost boy, okay?
yeah, yeah,
And he's like,
yeah.
"Are you my son?" But of course, he doesn't
Hmm.
speak English because since a baby, he's been living inside this guy's rectum.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, so then we get this like he wants to rescue him, obviously, and then he's obviously trying to figure a way to get out of his ass. And how does it come about? So Russ,
okay,
sorry,
so
Chip
they
is
take
then
a bunch of stuff
Yeah,
and
Chip
they
goes to the
eventually.
hospital
Oh
to the
no,
doctor, doesn't he?
Chip is at the hospital and
Mhm.
because he has to get a checkup because of the
That's
gunshot
right.
wound, and the
Yeah,
doctors give him another rectal check. And while he's
that's right.
doing that, it tells Russell, "Oh my
Fingers.
God, that's his asshole. We've been
Yeah,
looking for his asshole the whole time."
like fingers appear, don't they?
Dude, so we get this 2-second shot of a finger and an ass, but the inside of it, and it's like moving around.
Mhm.
Hilarious. Hilarious 2 seconds. But anyway, so that gives him this idea. I'm gonna start putting things through to see what happens. But the
Yeah,
funny thing is he puts through the bar soap and the remote, which are the first two things he
yeah.
ever put up his ass, which then makes Chip panic. So then Chip drinks this like magic elixir shit. And it's
Oh,
like blue,
no.
right? It's like neon
Yeah.
blue. So he chugs this whole bottle.
The
And
dog
then
comes back before he does that.
Andrew Lee is in there, and you see like this blue shit start raining down on the walls of the
Yeah.
rectum void world. And then Andrew Lee starts melting. There's like this
Mhm.
awesome body horror moment where you see
Yeah,
this
yeah.
like kid melting inside like
Mhm.
this guy's giant rectum world from
Yeah.
him drinking like stomach elixir. And then of course
I felt
then
bad for him though, because
his stomach's getting all like fucked up. So then Russell's
Mhm.
like, "We gotta get out of here, or I'm gonna get fucked up." So then Russell grabs his kid, and then at this time, Chip's at like this big town hall meeting about to give
Yeah,
a
yeah.
speech. And
About to get his big award, didn't he?
yep.
For yeah.
Then and does he go to have a fart, and then Chip
That's
lights
right,
his
yeah.
lighter,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
it causes Chip to explode in front of the town, and then blood and shit goes everywhere, and then we
Yeah.
get these awesome cutaway shots of blood going on different people from
Yeah,
throughout the
yeah.
movie. And then essentially Russell and his kid emerge from the wreckage or what's left of
Yeah.
Chip's body parts,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the whole town's like,
Covered in absolute
"Oh
shit and
my
blood.
yeah."
Yeah. And then, yeah, Russell walks with his kid, and then he goes to his detective boss, his chief boss. He's like, it's like something like, "Now do you believe me?" He's like, the guy's in
Yeah.
shock. But there's a really heartfelt scene though, because when he's walking away, he looks at Mr. Lee,
Mhm.
whose son was missing, and he shakes his head, doesn't he? He's almost like, "No, your son didn't survive." Because obviously, yeah, it's quite a sad scene, that bit.
Very sad.
But and then just to make it even worse, well, not even worse, but even sadder, then Russell takes his kid to the hospital, doesn't he? Because obviously to get him checked over, and that's when his ex-wife turns up. Yeah, he just like points like that, and obviously she's there with her new husband. Um,
But
and
he's kind of
then
the hero at the end of the day, no?
yeah, he is the hero. Yeah, and there's a scene when he then faces that husband, and he just like nods at him, doesn't he? Like, yeah, I've done my deed, I've done my good turn.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's it. So that's kind of a happy ending, I
It
guess.
is. It is a happy ending.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, the explosion is crazy. It's just like blood shit literally everywhere, covering everyone. And then he just emerges, and he from behind the table
Mhm.
with the kid. Yeah, and
It's a good
very
ending for a
yeah,
very
it's a good
weird,
ending.
strange film. So
Yeah.
I came across this on streaming. I was just looking for films to watch, and
Hmm.
I was like, "What the hell is this? I might as well give it a shot."
Yeah.
And I watched it, and I kind of just put it in the back of my head. And then I was a guest on the Gore and More podcast the other day, and I brought it up. I was like, "When are you guys
Hmm.
gonna watch Butt Boy?" And they're like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And I was like, "Butt Boy." And I was like, "You know what? If you guys aren't going to talk about it, Paul will talk about it."
Hmm.
And I told you about it, and you're like, "Fuck it, let's give it a shot, buddy."
Hmm.
So we did it, and here we are today. Uh, Again, this movie would have gotten all the rage, all the talk if it
Yeah.
wouldn't have came out in the middle of COVID.
Yeah. Yeah.
This film deserves a Blu-ray release. I think special features would be funny as hell.
Hmm.
I think making this movie would be fun, just
Yeah.
just because honestly, some of these scenes are really funny within the
Hmm.
context of what the hell the script calls for. Uh, I know we talked a lot about serious stuff, kids getting kidnapped and stuff like
Hmm.
that. But like, just it's a very unique movie. It's
Definitely. Yeah.
absolutely silly subject, but there's some really
Handled
good
very
stuff in
well.
there,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. It's handled very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd think it's a trauma film from the title and the plot, but it's
The
nothing like that.
the plot. If you were to read the plot synopsis without
Yeah,
watching it, you would think it's a trauma film.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
easily, yeah. But
But
it's
then when
nothing
you
like that.
watch it, you're like, competently made, takes itself seriously,
hmm
and sells it the whole time.
So a really good example. I was watching it on my TV at home earlier today. My girlfriend walks downstairs and she's like, "Oh, is this the film you're reviewing?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "What's it? What's it called?" I was like, "It's called Butt Boy." And she just looks at me. I was like, "What's it about?" And I was like, "Oh, this guy can suck things into his ass." And she watches like a minute of it. And she just turns to me and she goes, "You've reached a new low." And she gets up and goes out to yoga. And that was it.
Thank you, Jules.
But yeah, people, like I said, that's probably what a lot of people would think. Just
My
looking, it's like, oh,
wife was in the living room while I watched
yeah,
it, and she's like, "I'm not gonna watch this. I'm just gonna
hmm
play on my phone."
yeah.
And then she just kept making comments. She's like, "Oh my god." She was paying attention. And it's just like, but she wasn't watching, and she was just hearing me react to things. So she
Yeah.
was just showing her utter disgust. But in reality, it's not that bad. There's no like graphic things of him putting things in his ass.
Not really, no.
I mean,
No.
on reality, it's probably on par with like Texas Chainsaw Massacre on top
Yeah,
of with showing anything or Psycho.
hmm But no, it's good. Yeah, I'd highly recommend it. If you say, would I recommend it? I'll be yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
hmm
It's deceiving. It's deceivingly enjoyable.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Did give me slight Bad Milo vibes. You ever seen Bad Milo?
Yes.
Yeah, a little bit similar to that, I guess. But those
It's
sort
just
of
kind of
vibes.
like this era of film and more like this era of indie film kind of has this feeling look to it. And
hmm
Bad Milo definitely falls within its parameters, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, very sad it came out. I mean, it got well received. There was a Fantastic Fest in 2019. It got well received there, but then obviously COVID hit. It was due to get a theatrical release before hitting streaming. That all got cancelled because of COVID. No one could go to the cinemas anyway.
You know who I
During
think
that
would do
dark
great?
time.
Altered Innocence,
Oh
the
yeah,
Blu-ray
yeah,
label,
hmm
and then the slipcover is just an ass.
yeah. Yeah, that would work.
You heard me. Make it
Mhm.
happen, Altered Innocence. I don't even know who else would do something like that. I mean, let me look at the Vinegar Syndrome sublabels, because I'm telling you right now.
hmm
I don't even know. Altered Innocence, man.
Yeah, why not?
It's a movie about a guy that puts things in his ass. I don't know. I don't know if I'm pigeonholing that company or not.
Yeah.
No. Anyway.
Yeah.
Fun film, interesting,
Yeah.
really hilarious to talk about because it's kind of, I mean, how can you
Yeah.
not laugh when you talk about this?
Yeah.
But like Paul said, they don't really show anything, so it's kind
No.
of tastefully done.
As
Yeah.
tastefully as you can possibly do the subject matter, yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's nothing like you'd think.
In a world full of remakes, this film stands out. This is such
Definitely.
a original and creative idea that
hmm
I'd like to see more things like this. I'm not saying absurd things, but just taking an older formula, the cat and
hmm
mouse type thing, and then applying it to just some sort of subject or some
Yeah.
sort of, you know what I mean, twist. And
hmm
I think this kind of takes it to the absolute max or bottom of the barrel or however you want to look at it. It's
Yeah.
interesting. And if you wanted to discuss your wife or girlfriend, this is a good way to do it. This
Absolutely.
is on Tubi TV, free to watch in the United States right
hmm
now. Paul, how do you watch it in the United Kingdom?
I watched it on Amazon
Amazon.
Prime. Yeah.
Okay. Like we said,
I didn't check to see if it had a Blu-ray release in the UK, to be fair.
let me look up on Blu-ray.com real quick.
Yeah.
And I will let you guys know. There is a Butt Boy Blu-ray. It is currently $14.99 from Epic Pictures. It is on Amazon.com for
There you go.
$14.99 with free and fast shipping.
Yeah. Boom.
And one of the reviews is 1 star out of 5, just stupid. The premise and the plot summary was so outrageous that I had to check this out, except some clever twists. But I wish I hadn't. It's billed as a comedy, but I never smiled, and suspense, but there was nothing suspenseful about it. You're fucking lying, Phelps Gates.
Yeah.
Lying!
Yeah. A lot of people didn't like it looking at the reviews on Amazon.
Mm-hmm. They don't get it.
No. Yeah. It's a shame.
It is a shame. So
How
what would
would
you
you
rate
score
this
it?
film, Paul?
Oh, there you go then. I'm going to go. I said 3.5 out of 5. Yeah.
Yeah, I
3.5
think
out
that's
of
fair.
5.
I
Yeah.
think it's fair.
Yeah.
It's not an incredible film, but it's a damn good indie film.
Definitely,
I think
yeah.
it's worth that 3.5 out of 5, and I think I'm going to agree with Paul there and give it an official Celluloid Psychosis score
This
of
was
3.5 out of 5.
It was a directorial debut as well for the guy, wasn't it? For the director. But
I'd
he's
like
done a
to
few
see
other
him do
bits.
something else.
Yeah, he's done some other bits on IMDb. So I might
Another
have a look.
feature, though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mermaids, I think it's called. There's
Oh.
there's a couple of bits on there. So yeah.
That's probably about a man who thinks he's a mermaid. Anyway,
Probably.
there's probably some weird twists there too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Well.
So we will be back next week to talk
Mhm.
about physical media news and all that sort of stuff. I think by the time we'll be back, it's going to be a new month, right, Paul?
It will be. Yep.
So
This
we'll have
weekend,
some new
this month.
Vincent stuff to talk about, and I'll probably have ordered stuff by then, of course.
Mhm.
It's going to be exciting nonetheless. Thank you guys for tuning in on another episode of Celluloid Psychosis. And you like this episode and want to listen to other things just like it, head on over to www.projectlouder.net or anywhere else you consume audio-only content. That includes, but is not limited to, Amazon, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Blueberry, Podchaser, just to name a few. We're on all of those things. Just search Project Louder or Celluloid Psychosis. We are there. I got to catch up on a couple of episodes. I've been backlogged. Been busy at work, but busy with life. I've been involved in local politics recently. So I just got to keep moving. But thank you for joining us. And we will be back next week at the same bat time, same bat channel. Paul, thank you for talking to me about movies.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. And thank you for everyone who listened and tuned in for this live stream. It's always appreciated. I'm TJ Bowser. That's the very handsome Paul Ashford. And I'll see you next week.